Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you on a very cold snow day. That's right, my daycare being a bunch of pansy asses, they closed. They salted the streets, they plowed them. You can get places, there's cars driving by all day long. I'd have been a little bit late for work because my car doesn't have snow tires, and I would have had to wait for the plows, but daycare decided to close, and it is currently 12:55. They just sent the notice a couple of minutes ago that daycare is closed. No shit. Not happy, but I'm going to make the most of it, and my loss is your gain. Boy is taking a nap right now, so we're going to take this time and opportunity to bring you another video RPG du jour. I got a blast from the past. This one's near and dear to my heart, and sadly, I've never gotten to play it or run it. And maybe I can fix that on with Discord and maybe run a game if some people show some interest. A little housekeeping out of the way. As always, like and subscribe. Hit the bell there to be notified of when I post new videos. I run a Patreon as well, so you can feel free to hit the link down in the doobly-doo and join my Patreon. As little as $5 a month, or $10 or $15. That's the max. And you'll be notified. You guys will get, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you'll get first dibs on my videos. They come out a week early for you guys, and then non-subscribers or my YouTube viewers get it a week later, 7 days later, sometimes 6, depends on when I decide to upload it. I'm also on MeWe. I killed my Facebook account. I'm totally happy. I hate Facebook, and that's a strong word. But I just got sick of all the politics and the ads and all the fake shit. And so MeWe is pretty much what you want it to be. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's pretty cool. They do have a little paid process where you can get like special emojis and things like that. You don't have to do any of that. I don't. I just do the free version, but it's only content I want to see because only people can post who I agree to let them see. So little blurb there about MeWe. I think it's totally worth it. It's the next social network, and like I said, I'm pretty happy with what I've been seeing so far and using. So Mr. Mean today. So housekeeping out of the way. Like and subscribe as always. Tell your friends if you have RPG friends. You guys can watch my awesome, funny, cool videos. Lame, whatever. I don't know. I babble. You guys watch it. We're up to almost, I think, 430 subscribers. Woohoo! So, today's video du jour is by one of my all-time favorite authors, Sean Patrick Fannin. Those of you that have been watching my channel know I'm a huge Savage Worlds fan. You know that I'm a huge Shintar fan. And this game was part of the inspiration for Shintar. And I've read this book cover to cover 2 or 3 times now. And what I'm talking, it's out of print, unfortunately. But you can, I believe you can find copies floating around on Amazon or eBay. I found mine at a local game store, at a local convention. I had previously had a copy and I lost it. I think I loaned it to a friend or a pseudo friend, and they never returned it. But that was years ago. But I happened to go to a convention, and I think I was in San Francisco, and me and my good buddy Brian Isakoff, I came across it and I picked it up because I've loved this game ever since it came out. It is, of course, Shards of the Stone. I mean, this is a tome, people. It's a little worn and torn from lovingly well read, and it's been shuffled around and moved many, many times. It has some sort of like plastic coating on it, and it's starting to like fray a little bit. It's starting to come off. But this lovely beast of an RPG game was written, of course, by Sean Patrick Fannin. The layout was by Aaron Acevedo, who, in my opinion, is a god when it comes to book layouts. I think he does a great job. Every book he's touched, I've enjoyed the physical aspect of that book, or the layout of that book. And then one of my all-time favorite artists, who has worked with Aaron and SPF for many years, is Jason Engel. One of the most iconic images for Shards of the Stone, which really, I remember seeing it on a website one day back in the day, and it caught my eye, something fierce. And you'll recognize the image because it's kind of been ported over to Savage Worlds to Sean Patrick Fannon's, or SPF as I like to call him, to his Shinetar series, and that's this one. Oh, this one right here, the Warrior Kneeling. That's a very similar image. I don't have this book as a PDF. I don't think it's available as a PDF. I would certainly pay for it as a PDF. I need to check drive-thru because they may actually have it as a PDF. I haven't done that. I'll put notes down in the doobly-doo if they do. This is the Vanguard edition. I don't know the Vanguard edition. I don't know if there were different issues of this made. I know Sean Patrick Fannon watches my videos here and there. So, sir, if you have a chance, please post in the notes or send me a private message and let me know. God forbid you'd happen to have the PDF of this, and if you could send it to me, well, you'd be even more awesome than you already are. So this was $25 retail back in 2000. So this game is almost 20 years old, coming up on 19 years old here in a couple days, depending on, it doesn't say what month it was produced in, but we'll just, go from that. What was neat about this game is, so first of all, you got 383 pages of RPG goodness. Oh man, I just had to pick the image too. Does that look like something out of Shinetar? Because it sure does to me, which is pretty cool. So like I said, a lot of the, Jason Engel's art is, all through the Shinetar books. The second edition of Shinetar. There was a first edition that SPF had put out previous years, mid 2000s, I think. And this game had a lot to do with it. This game uses the Fuzion system, and I'm not going to lie to you. I know two things about Fuzion: jack and shit. That's what I know about the Fuzion system. It was pretty popular. I know R. Talsorian, the fine purveyors of cyberpunk. Mike Pondsmith is, working with CD Projekt Red on the Cyberpunk 2077 game. I can spread the vicious rumor that there is a new version of Cyberpunk RPG coming out. I don't think it's a industry or trade secret. I reached out to Mike Pondsmith because him and I used to talk years ago. I used to demo for him back when I lived in San Francisco in the Bay Area. And we used to joke and say that we were the mirror opposites, the mirror universe of each other, because I was a white guy married to a black chick, and he was a black guy married to a white chick. And so it was just a funny joke that we, racism in RPGs, for the most part, doesn't exist. And Mike is a super awesome guy, and I remember having many fond conversations with him. He probably doesn't remember me, but I reached out to his company, R. Talsorian. They have a thing, and I said, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I run a small YouTube channel. I got like 400 subscribers, and I do RPG reviews. And I know with the release of CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 coming out, I'm hoping there's a new version of the RPG coming out, and I would definitely love to get you on the show. I know you're probably super busy, blah, 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 blah. It was all email. And his PR guy got back to me, and he said, yes, Mike does remember you, and will be more than willing to come on your show after the game releases. Now, he's been traveling back and forth to Poland and stuff, and I've been keeping up on Cyberpunk 2077 because it's a game near and dear to my heart, and I will get it on the console, probably the Xbox, although I don't know. I'm going to have to look and see which one kind of will support it better depending on what they do. I have an Xbox One X Scorpio edition, which I guess is supposed to be like one of the best ones. I don't know because I just bought it back when they announced the Scorpio edition. And of course I have a PS4 Pro, which I love. So that being said, they did tell me that there is a new version of Cyberpunk, 2020 coming out. I'm sure it's going to be called Cyberpunk 2077, or it'll be something really close to that. I don't know if there will be a copyright issue. You guys know as much as I know. All I can say is that they did confirm that there is a new RPG, and I'll be getting a copy of it, probably in PDF, when it's ready to go. They did confirm my email address for Drive-Thru RPG and said that they'll reach back out to me when Mike is available. And I can't ask for anything more than that. That is super awesome cool. So very excited about that. So that's neither here nor there. But like I said, a lot of games used the Fuzion system. Our Talsorian was one of the big ones. I'm trying to see. They had a list here of the people who used it. A lot of the games that used it. So, Bubblegum Crisis, which was our Talsorian. Armored Troopers Votom, again, our Talsorian. Dragon Ball Z, our Talsorian. Usagi Yojimbo. I actually have that game somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's in a box. But I do know I have that one. Sengoku, which I also have. That was the early predecessor from Gold Rush Games for L5R. It's been out in many iterations for years, and it's a really great game. If you don't have that one in your gaming library, you need to pick it up. And I believe I have the Fuzion version, but again, it's in a box somewhere. I'd have to find it. But those were a couple of games. And then back in its heyday, back in the late 1990s and the early 2000s, thefuse.com was a website that you could go to, and you could get all kinds of RPG goodness as basically PDFs, and in the early days of when PDFs were becoming popular, and you could download them. So sadly, I don't know much about the rules of this game because I never got to play Fuzion. But we'll do my normal layout here, excluding the rules because I don't know Fuzion. I don't profess to know Fuzion. I never got to play it really. I was an old purist when it came to Cyberpunk, so I played the old 2020 and Cyber Generation. I like the stat skill in a 1d10. That was my jam. Layout of the book, amazing. Again, Aaron Acevedo, super good quality. I like the parchment style paper, and then in the middle of the book, and you RPG publishers out there could take a hint, could take a page out of Aaron's playbook here. If you're going to do a black and white book, and I get it because of cost and everything, at least do a really good layout. And Aaron, I mean, they did. I mean, chapters are headed like that. I mean, and I know that's, to some people that might be busy, but it definitely fits in the theme of this book. Goblin Scout, which is a player class, by the way. Just all kinds of neat stuff in here. And what I'm going to do is, we'll go into that in a second. So the layout, phenomenal. Page borders, really well done. I mean, here's the game master. Showed you the combat. There's the game master section. So that same, they follow a theme, which consistency is king. And I mean, this book is 19 years old, and it's holding up pretty well. You can see it's just a glued binding. It's not stitched, but it's holding up really well. I think it is stitched and just glued. On a soft back. I would love to see a hardback. In fact, I would even go so far as if I got a PDF copy of this, I would send it to Lulu and see if they could do a hardback. Or I've got some local places here in Duluth that actually will print books. So I would actually probably get this. I would spend on average, if you provide the paper, and I would get some good vellum, paper similar to this, and a good PDF file. It'll cost you about $40 to $70 to print a book, depending on if you want it hardback and sewn and stitched and all that. But these places do it by hand, and it's really cool. I've seen it done. So again, back with my basic thoughts in my review. Layout is phenomenal. Art, extremely consistent. Jason Engel did, I believe, all of the art in this, and it just pops. The art is just, you get a feel for this world. The layout is phenomenal. Page count is perfect. I mean, this is 383 pages. It's not heavy. It's on thin paper, but I don't know what kind of paper they used. But it's solid, man. It doesn't tear easily. And like I said, I've had this book for a long time, and it's held up pretty well. I mean, the corners are frayed a little bit, but this is one of those ones that if I found a hard copy, or if I found a better copy, it would go up on the shelf there, and this one would be my play copy, and this would be the one that I'd show people, because this is, with SPF, Jason, and Aaron, this is game design 101. This is, not knowing the Fuzion system. I know it's a good system. I've just never really played it. I've just never had a chance. And if I did play it, I don't remember, which is not unusual. It might have been at a convention. I played a one-shot and walked away. And I think, as a matter of fact, I played Bubblegum Crisis using the Fuzion system years ago at a convention in California. And then I never played it again because it didn't grab me. But I'm a diehard fantasy fan, and I'm a SPF fan. So this is the kind of game that's right up my alley. I mean, there's a knight. There's color plates inside the middle of the book. There's like 6 of them. 1 or 2, 4, 6. There's 8. I mean, that's just a neat image right there. So the book is laid out really well. As a matter of fact, I think that same image, or something very close to it, is in Shintar. So layout, solid, 100%. Writing, 100%. It's phenomenal writing, really well done. Like I said, I ran this a few times. I've read it a few times. I've never run it. I'm sorry. I haven't found any spelling errors or grammatical errors. I'm sure there's a few in here, but the innate fanboy in me won't let me recognize them because it's Sean Patrick Fannin, and the fiction in here is written by Matt Forbeck. Has a forward in here, The Sundering by Matt Forbeck, and then The Legend of Mar by Dan McGirt, and of course it was written by Sean, edited by Scott Haring, and then the layout was Aaron Acevedo and Kevin A. Ranson, and the cover art was by Jason Engel. So I just, this book is really great. Jared Nielsen did the forward, July 12th, 2000. So yeah, it's almost, in July it'll be 19 years old. So the back of it, the blurb on the back says, ancient gods playing an ancient game, 25 elements, infinite magic unleashed, a world shattered, torn asunder, forged anew, the wanderer gray, restless, determined, insane, heroes and villains, faith and steel rule the day as the veil between realms begins to fade. So this is a cool game because it's one of those ones. This falls into the category for me like Rifts, everything in the kitchen sink. There's magic, there's psionics, there's martial arts, of course there's sword and board. And then there's a bunch of different races. You can play an ogre, you can play goblin, you can play a fey touched, and then there's a bunch of pre-gens in here, so there's no excuse you can't just, and I need to read the rules, and I need to just get on Discord and run a game, and hopefully any of you fans out there of this game, or some people that are like, this book is sitting on their game, and you say, hey, Mr. Mean's going to run a game, you should reach out to him. I would totally run a game. Avanar Priestess. We're going to look at the pre-gens real quick. So we've got an Avanar Priestess, which is a flyer. Basically the birdman, and in this case a woman. The Dwarven Knight, so a big dwarf with a big sword. The Goblin Scout, Human Swashbuckler, Ogre Druid, Orc Mercenary, Ron Gladiator. And Ron are basically the cat people. Saurian Savant, which is basically the lizard men. And then an Elven Mystic. And I'm going to tell you, that's probably one of the most... a lot of games when you think Elven, you think all frilly and tender and soft. That guy looks anything but. He looks like he's going to fry your freaking eyeballs off with a spell. And like I said, I don't know the stats, but this guy's got Magic Sight, AV8. I'm assuming that's action value for 3 power points or 3 prowess points. I'm not sure. Magic skill of sorcery with an action value of 8. Wizardry is an action value of 8. Spells: Eldritch Armor, Eldritch Blast, and Eldritch Bonds. And he's got some cantrips too. I don't know what that means. But he's got a light staff, and it gives all the damage. 3d6 damage knockout. And hand-to-hand evade of 7, but it has parentheses 8. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming he gets a bonus from something. His melee evade is an 8 with a parentheses 9. It may be because he has a high body or a high reflex. Your core stats are strength, constitution, body, reflex, dexterity, technique, intelligence, presence, spirit, and willpower. So that's a lot of stats. But I remember the Fuzion system. The point of the Fuzion system was almost like Savage Worlds. It was do what you want, how you want, when you want. It was supposed to mean very. It was supposed to be very flexible. And I remember the cyberpunk version of Fuzion, and the whole point was you had toggles and you could turn certain things on. So, and they talk about that a little bit in here. Fantasy world, there's a big cosmic crystal. It shatters, and those little fragments go out through the universe and land on this planet. I don't remember what the core planet is called. It's been so long. There's a good piece of fiction in here. Mar. The Mar are a race, I believe. I'm going to go back and reread this because it's been years and I don't remember it. But I wanted to pop out a video today because I wanted to show you guys a 19-year-old game that I think will still hold up to the test of time today. At least the setting. Maybe the mechanics won't. But then again, you've got Savage Worlds, or the new Savage Worlds would probably work really well for this. Champions. I mean, you know, Fantasy Champions would work because it's a point-buy system. You could build the characters you want. Fantasy Age, the Age system, or Phage system, Fantasy Age, Adventure Game Engine, Fantasy Adventure Game Engine. There we go, by Green Ronin, would work. Same mechanical engine that Titan's Grave by Will Wheaton and Dragon Age use. Would work really well for this because you got the different schools of magic, and it would work for this. Lots of critters in here that get a full page, and you know, you get all their stats. They did talk about in the back that it uses abbreviated stats for the monsters, which I think is good because I don't need all the same stats that a player character has. I just need to know the basics, and so this book does a good job of giving you a very basic character sheet in the back. There's almost, and again, this is where like a good PDF copy would come in. There's all these in the appendix here. There's a whole bunch of, let's see what it says. The appendix is a handy collection of charts and tables that are printed elsewhere in this book, gathered together. Oh, well, there's a typo, right? Together in, that's all one word. It should be together space in, one place for ease of reference. There are also a few other tables, again, all one word, which I think that should probably be two, that don't appear earlier in the book but are referenced to in the text. And again, reference to is one word. So yeah, a couple typos or grammatical errors. So yeah, your strength table, campaign levels, because this is a point-buy system, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I mean, but those things, again, if you had a PDF, you could print these off and make your own GM screen easily with your handy-dandy, you know, generic GM screen. So I can't say enough good things about this game. I mean, like I said, I haven't played Fuzion, and maybe the Fuzion system is crap. It's dead now. Thefuse.com does not exist. That website is nothing. But there is a Fuzion wiki, so you can go read up on it a little bit more. But I went and perused it. Doesn't say a whole lot. Just talks about, you know, the history of Fuzion and a couple of game systems that were used. At the time, D20 was just coming out, and so, you know, they decided, I guess the way I read it, and I could be wrong, they approached WotC to use the OGL, the D20, and I don't know if they asked too much money or they weren't. I'm not sure. The way I read it is they wanted to use the OGL, but they just didn't like it, or WotC wanted too much money. They're not specific. They just say, with the coming of the OGL, we thought Fuzion was a better system. Well, sadly, the OGL is still here and Fuzion is dead. So that was a bad call, but who can see the future? But again, there's plenty of, you could do this in D&D. I mean, all these races, you know, you can find something very compatible with all the different monster races that are out and everything. And so you could run it in D&D 5th edition if you wanted to. or D20. I mean, geez, there's still tons, a plethora of D20 books out there. So that's just my look at the core. This is a blast from the past in my collection. Have you heard of this? Have you played it? How does Fuzion play? Let me know in the notes, because like I said, I've never played Fuzion. If I have, I don't remember. But this one's near and dear to my heart. SPF, thank you for writing this. I know it was the precursor to your Shintar, and there's a lot of elements in here that, for those of you that are fans of Shintar, this will ring true. I mean, it's very similar in a lot of aspects. And of course, Jason's art, he did a lot of the art in Shintar, and then of course he's got a lot of the art. He's got all the art in here, I believe. So if you're a fan of Jason's art alone, this book is worth picking up if you can find it. I think when I upload this video, I'm going to go on RPG Now and see if I can find a PDF of it and pick it up, because I think it would be totally worth it to have it as a PDF. But anyway, guys, that's Mr. Mean on this very cold, snowy, wintry day, December 27th, 2018. Just giving you my thoughts on Shards of the Stone, the core book. I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you had a great Christmas. Please have a safe and sound New Year's. Don't drink and drive. Uber, a lot of insurance companies are offering free rides through Uber or Lyft. I know I'm with Root Insurance, and I got an email yesterday or day before telling me that I get $20 worth of vouchers from Lyft. I don't drink, so I'm not going anywhere. I'll be home with my son. My wife gets out of the hospital on Wednesday of next week, so we're counting down the days. We're very excited. We'll have Mama home and help her to rest and recuperate, and then hopefully life will get somewhat back to normal. So anyway, Mr. Mean signing off as always. Peace and hair grease, and remember, if my mouse would work, Mr. Mean says, be nice.